So today we're diving into one of modern poetry's most incredible figures, Mr. Cogito. He's the creation of the Polish poet Zbigniew Herbert. And we're going to get right into the mind of this man, a character who dared to think when the world around him was screaming for conformity.
You know the phrase, right? I think, therefore I am. Descartes. It's supposed to be this rock-solid foundation of certainty. But what if it isn't? What if thinking doesn't lead to some big, confident I am, but instead it just throws you into this deep, messy struggle with who you even are? Well, that's exactly where our hero begins.
So who is this Mr. Cogito? You can think of him as Herbert's poetic alter ego. But he's not some mythical warrior or a king from an old story. Nope. He's a modern guy, an intellectual. He's basically one of us, just trying to figure out his own identity while picking his way through the rubble of history and the crazy paradoxes of everyday life.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The critic, Stanislav Baranchek, nails it. He says, Herbert basically flips Descartes on his head. For Mr. Cogito, thinking isn't just proof that you exist, it's a moral duty. It's something you have to do if you want your life to mean anything at all.
Okay, so to really get this guy, we have to understand the world that forged him. Mr. Cogito wasn't just dreamt up in a quiet study. He was shaped by some of the most intense historical pressures imaginable.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It's relentless. As a young man, Herbert lived through the Nazi occupation, even fighting in the resistance. Then, right after that came Stalinism, with its suffocating ideology and censorship. You get a brief moment to breathe during the thaw, but that freedom is always on a leash. And it all culminates in martial law in the 80s. This isn't just a history lesson. This is the very air Mr. Cogito has to breathe.
And the trauma from all this, it wasn't abstract. Think about this. With about a sixth of Poland's population killed in the war, the word ash wasn't some poetic image for sadness. No, it was a literal, horrible reality. Everybody had experienced loss. Everybody was displaced. That was just normal.
So let's shift from that brutal external world and look at how it all plays out inside the man himself. Because the real drama, the real heart of Mr. Cogito is his deep inner conflict.
You know, when Mr. Cogito looks in the mirror, he doesn't just see his own reflection. He sees what he calls an inherited face. He sees the caveman staring back at him, the primal survivor with ancient fears hardwired in. He tries to cover it up, you know? He puts on some Mozart, he thinks about beautiful paintings, but deep down he feels like he's losing a fight against his own raw animal nature.
And this split inside him is captured perfectly in this poem about his two legs. His left leg is like Sancho Panza. It's practical, it loves life, it's ready to dance or, run away to survive another day. But the right leg? That's Don Quixote. It's thin, scarred, heroic, and stubbornly stands its ground. So what happens when he walks? He staggers. He's constantly being pulled between these two extremes, the idealist and the pragmatist.
So, this brings us to the biggest question of all. You've got this guy, staggering with this inner conflict, living in this traumatic world. How does he choose to act? What does being a hero even look like for an ordinary man like him?
Well, first, we gotta understand his despair. It's not some grand, tragic abyss like you'd read about in a Russian novel. No, for Mr. Cogito, the abyss is, well, it's mundane. It's persistent and annoying, he says, like a small pet or a skin disease. It's the tragedy of the everyday, which, let's be honest, is sometimes the hardest kind to deal with.
And this is the world he has to make his choice in. A city that's already given up. Long before the enemy is even at the gates, people are already sewing white flags. They're practicing how to kneel. They're teaching their own kids how to lie to survive. The pressure to just give in, to conform, is absolutely massive.
So, against all that, what does Mr. Cogito do? His choice sounds almost too simple. Herbert just uses this ordinary phrase to stand up to the situation. It's not about winning. It's definitely not about surviving. He knows that standing up just makes him a better target. But for him, the choice isn't about the result. It's about the moral posture you take.
And this all builds to his final, powerful message to the world, a set of instructions laid out in the poem, The Envoy of Mr. Cogito.
The first command is physical, but it's really about your soul. When everyone else is on their knees, you have to choose to stand. Go upright.
Next, he's told to become a guardian of our culture. When all the timeless values, truth, beauty, goodness, seem totally meaningless, that is the exact moment you have to repeat them. stubbornly. You have to protect those great words.
And what do you get for all this integrity? A medal? A parade? Nope. The world will give you what it has on hand. You'll get mockery, laughter, and a violent, meaningless death on a garbage heap. This is heroism with zero illusions.
And in the end, it all boils down to this final stripped-down command. Be faithful to these ideas, and go.
And here's the amazing thing. By choosing this incredibly difficult path, by bearing witness to the truth even when it gets him killed, our ordinary, staggering Mr. Cogito is welcomed into the club of legends. He gets to stand alongside Gilgamesh, Hector, and Roland as a defender of what truly matters.
And that leaves us with the question Mr. Cogito puts to all of us. A question that's just as urgent today as it was back then. It's a challenge, really. In a world that so often encourages us, even rewards us for kneeling, what does it really mean? And what does it truly cost to stand?